my mind, and I think the average person mind, starts to go towards like time travel and what we could possibly do there. Because, if I were a guy like you, I don't know how I'd sleep at night, because the no pun intended, the gravity of what happens here on Earth is so beneath what you deal with. You're looking at the meaning of everything, and yet, we got people fighting on the front page of the fucking New York Times talking about who they're going to vote for. It seems like such a low tier place to put your energy compared to where you are. But, I would get so stressed if I were you, because I'd be thinking about the permutations. And what I mean by that is, it seems like everything that we look at in the galaxy and that you've spent your career looking at is based on the fact that there are multiple outcomes. And as you do those multiple outcomes, things get exponential really quickly. And so when we talk about wormholes and we start talking about the relationship between time and space and what time even means, which is something obviously you've spent a lot of your career on, it's like, well, now we can think of different ways that things could be simulated. And so when I'm thinking about time travel, the way I've heard you explain it before is that it's not as simple as, oh, you go back and you change what happened to Abraham Lincoln, and then that changes the future. What you seem to point out is that if you were to use time travel as a mechanism, if we figured that out, you could go back and change Abraham Lincoln getting shot, but it's not going to change the future, the past that you know. It's only going to change that for another set of probabilities, which means that there's this whole other galaxy out there with unlimited potential permutations of it that exists on a parallel plane, if you will, from what we experience right now in this room.
Well, by George, I think you got it. I think you understand the whole problem of time travel. Okay, time is a river. And the river of time can speed up or slow down. That's called special relativity. That gives us the atomic bomb, for example. However, the river of time can fork into two rivers, and that's called the multiverse, which is the foundation of quantum mechanics, which we'll talk about in a second. That's called the forking of space and time, and that gives us wormholes. But the question is whirlpools. Can the river of time have not just splits, but whirlpools by which you can go backwards in time to alter the past? Okay, that is the question. Now, it turns out that in Einstein's theory, wormholes are rather common. It's very easy to generate wormhole solutions in Einstein's equations. But the catch is you have to be type 3. You have to be a very advanced civilization to begin to tinker with the fabric of space and time itself. Now, how does that work? If you go backwards in time and alter the past, the river of time forks into two rivers, and you've saved not just Abraham Lincoln at the Ford Theater, you've saved a copy of Abraham Lincoln at the Ford Theater, because the river of time has forked into two rivers. And that, of course, is the multiverse idea. And where does the multiverse idea come from? It comes from quantum mechanics. So the question is, where do parallel universes come from? And the answer is, it comes from the quantum theory. The quantum theory is powerful because it computes in parallel universes. All of quantum mechanics, which in turn is all of physical reality and all of life, everything you know and love is based on quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics in turn is based on the multiverse. And we're not talking about Marvel comics. We're not talking about Spider-Man and Marvel comics in multiverse. We're talking about the laws of physics are defined in a multiverse. Now, how do you explain the multiverse to an average person? I once asked Steve Weinberg, Nobel laureate, to explain the multiverse in a simple way. And he said, well, look, take a look at radio. If you walk into your living room, how many radio stations are there in your living room? Hundreds of radio stations, right? But your radio is only tuned to one frequency. Okay, it resonates at one frequency, and that's why you hear only one station. But how many stations are there in principle in your living room? Hundreds of vibrations, okay? Now replace the radio with electrons. The electron is a wave governed by quantum mechanics, okay? And how many waves are there of these electrons? An infinite number of waves, just like infinite number of radio waves. But you are tuned to one frequency. That's why you exist with parallel universes. In your living room, there are dinosaurs. In your living room, there are pirates. In your living room, there are aliens. You don't have to go into outer space to see the aliens. The aliens are there right there in your living room. The thing is, you are no longer vibrating in unison with them. You've bifurcated. So you cannot jump into these other universes unless, of course, you are an electron. Electrons do this all the time, okay? And what is that called? That's called electronics. All of electronics are based on that idea that electrons can be in multiple states at the same time. That's why you have laser beams. That's why you have the internet. That's why you have all the wonders in your living room. It's because electrons can be in multiple states at the same time, okay? Now, why can't you enter these other realities? Well, for the PhD exam, we sometimes give a simple question to our PhD students. Calculate the probability that you'll wind up on Mars tomorrow. Now, the average person would say, that's a stupid question. You got to be an idiot. What? Calculate the chances you're going to wake up on Mars tomorrow? That's a physics question. Electrons do it all the time. The question is, can you wake up on Mars tomorrow? Okay? So you do the calculation. Heisenberg uncertainty principle, delta P, delta X, H bar, so on. You do the calculation. And you have to wait longer than the lifetime of the universe for that to happen. Chances are you're going to wind up in your bed tomorrow. But there's a small probability that you'll wind up on Mars tomorrow. That's the quantum theory. The quantum theory computes on multiple realities. So the question is, why are quantum computers so powerful? They compute on parallel universes. That's why they're so powerful. Now, we usually don't like to teach our students this because it freaks them out. So we simply say that the electron, it's like a football. You know, you took chemistry, right, in high school?
Of course.
In high school chemistry, what was the electron? How did you visualize the electron? It was a football, right? A football that was surrounding the nucleus of the atom. That was the picture given to you by your chemistry teacher. They didn't tell you the truth because it would freak you out.
I knew she lied to me.
That's right.
Miss Pomeroy was on some.
That's right. The electron is not a football. The electron is not a wave that looks like a football. The electron is not a wave at all. The electron is a particle that exists in multiple states at the same time. In other words, this is straight out of Marvel Comics. In fact, where did Marvel Comics get the idea of a multiverse? It came from physics.
Right. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.